welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
I'm Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube, and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we're recording together today.
Well, hello.
A change. Because usually we're not together when we watch, or would never have watched. Well, we kind of have watched a few episodes together.
We started watching one together.
We started watching Angel together.
That's right.
I think, but we didn't finish it.
No.
But we never recorded together. So this is nice.
Here we are.
Yes, here we are together. So today we are talking about episode 10 of season 1 called Nightmares. Well, first takes? Any hot takes?
I liked it a lot, actually.
You did?
I thought it was a good episode. Very Nightmare on Elm Street reminiscent.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me the nostalgias for, that series of movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I think I've only seen like one a billion years ago.
What? Really?
Yeah. So I probably need to rectify that.
I do like a good Freddy Krueger movie.
Because I feel like when I was younger, that was too scary for me. So I didn't like watch it as like a teenager or anything.
So I've gone the other way. I used to love this, like when I was younger, the scarier the better. And for some reason, as I get older, I just can't handle that anymore.
Yeah, I'm going the other way. I'm getting braver. I was scared of everything.
That's making you braver.
I was scared of everything as a kid. Like everything scared me. So
I feel like I saw Jaws when I was like 5.
Oh God, Jaws will fuck you up. I remember being because we had a huge above ground pool in my backyard, like huge, and it's a pool. It's clear, but I'm still like being there by myself. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, it's so big. There's a shark in here. Like ridiculous. Like
that's funny. Okay, yeah, nope. We had an in-ground pool and it didn't faze me whatsoever.
Ooh, that's like not as common to have an in-ground. It happens, of course, but to have an in-ground pool where the ground freezes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we had an above ground pool, and they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a bit of a freaky, scary episode.
It is creepy.
There's a lot of like subtext in it. There's a lot of like character development.
Yes.
Under the surface.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's very like kind of superficial storyline, but it does get into like the psyche of all of our characters. Yeah. So you learn a lot in that way for sure.
There were some things that surprised me about some of the characters.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Nightmares was aired on May 12th, 1997, and it's written by Joss Whedon. So he's coming back to write. So it's going to be usually a good episode if Joss is coming to write it. And David Greenwalt. They co-wrote it. Actually, it says that Joss did the story and David did the teleplay. I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
The synopsis is, the world of nightmares and reality become one when everyone in Sunnydale is living out their worst fears. While Xander comes to school in his underwear and Giles is unable to read, Buffy must unravel the mystery before reality folds completely into the world of nightmares. Yeah, this would be scary, because I have some freaky dreams.
While I was watching
some of them would be good.
I was trying to think of what was my last nightmare and what would have come true, and I don't know. I know sometimes I have a dream about falling. That's all I could really remember though.
About following?
Falling.
Yeah, falling. Okay, right, yeah.
Sometimes where you just you jerk yourself awake in that dream.
I don't have falling nightmares, because this is different. They say dream a lot in this, but they also differentiate between a nightmare and a dream.
Yeah.
So good dreams aren't coming true. Like a good dream isn't a nightmare. So my reoccurring nightmares, some of which they have because they're a lot of them they have like universal dreams that everybody has.
Yeah.
Like the being naked in front of people and all that. I don't really I've
never had that.
Yeah, I'm sure I've had it once, but it's not reoccurring. The one I have the most is kind of like Willow's, but for a different reason. And she's in front of an audience. We'll get to that obviously, but she's in front of an audience, but it's because she's scared of the attention and she's scared of being watched. Mine is more that isn't the reason why I have this dream, but it's the being unprepared. So I have a dream that I'm performing, but I have no idea what to say, and it's because I just don't know. I haven't practiced. I don't know it, and don't know what to do. I don't know what all this. I don't know the lyrics and all that. So that I get. And there was one that Buffy had. We'll go through it, but I'm sure a lot of people can relate to these nightmares for sure.
That Willow one was terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, so we open with the Slayer opening again. I'm hoping we'll only get this 3 more times, because we only have 3 episodes left. And then hopefully it will go away by season 2. Okay, we get it. We get it by season 2, right? Season 2, episode 1, we should get that Buffy's this freaking Slayer. We get it. Still here. Okay, so we start out in the Master's lair, and we see Buffy entering. I love her little hair, her little French braids.
I actually caught on very quickly that this was a dream.
Mm-hmm. When?
She just was, like, walking around all dazed and confused, and I was like, this isn't whatever. And I was like, how cute is she with her braided hair in her dream world?
Yeah, I love it. That's the only way my hair would look that good in a dream world. So Buffy's kind of walking through the Master's lair, looking for him, it looks like.
But she looks confused.
She does look confused, yeah, and she has a stake. And basically, she's looking around, he sneaks up on her, and it kind of seems like, yeah, when you said she's confused, I was thinking, like, she's either confused or, you know how there's that vampire lore of, like, the thrall, where they have, like, can control your mind and stuff like that. Because she just kind of, like, he grabs her wrist, but he's not, like, he's, like, being super forceful, and she kind of just opens her hand and the stake falls out.
Okay.
Almost like it's voluntary.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I'm not sure if that was meant to be, like, he forced it out of her hand, but it kind of seemed like she just kind of, like, surrendered.
Yeah, I feel like she froze.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because we know that this is a big fear of hers, the Master. So in her dream, she just maybe chokes.
Yeah, that's what I thought the dream was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it could be that too. That was interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he grabs her by the neck, and he's about to bite her, and she's like, no! And her mom wakes her up, and she's obviously having a nightmare that the Master has gotten her. And her mom's waking her up for school and saying that her dad is going to pick her up after school. And Buffy is excited, but what's the word I'm looking for? Apprehensive?
Yeah.
She is like, he's coming, right? He's coming, right? He's going to meet me after school and everything's like confirming everything. She's like, yeah, no problem. Like, he's going to be there. So her dad's coming up from LA to spend the weekend with her or take her down to LA with him. So she's going to see her dad. And yeah, she's had big plans with her dad. So you got the question right.
I win.
Hank Summers has arrived on the scene. In the hallway, Buffy and Willow are talking about Buffy's parents' divorce, and we find out that it was fairly recent. It was finalized a year before, but they had been separated, and they just kind of talk about how rough that is for Buffy. Mm-hmm. Willow's parents are together, but so they don't argue much. It doesn't seem like they talk much anyway. Yeah. And just sometimes they glare at each other. Buffy has the idea that she had something to do with her parents separating and divorce, which is so relatable to every child of divorce.
Yeah, that goes through divorce. I feel so bad for her. Yeah, I really felt like she blamed herself for this. Like, and she even says, like, oh, he kind of comes down on weekends sometimes. Like, she feels like he doesn't really want to see her, doesn't want to be part of her life, or like...
Mm-hmm. He's at least partially absentee.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, like, forget about being a slayer. Every child of divorce can relate to this idea. Even if it's completely unfounded, which it 99.9% is unfounded. Because every kid at some point crosses their mind. Was it my fault? Did I contribute or something to my parents not being able to stay together? So this is like, take the slayer aspect out of it. Every kid of divorce can relate to this. I know I definitely could at one point in my life. In the classroom, we see a guy who we find out his name is Wendell. Another really common name for the Buffyverse. He's standing by the window and he's blocking Cordy's light. And of course, she's very nice and respectful and asks him to please move away so she can use the light. No, she's horrible, of course. She's horrible and tells him to get out of my light. And Xander kind of comes to his rescue and helps kind of both of them fend off Cordy.
He was funny. Cordelia's the center of the universe. The rest merely really circle around her.
Yeah, she believes it for sure. Willow and Buffy kind of come up a little bit after that conversation. And Willow says that Cordy is Evita-like. So that's a reference to the... Musical, thank you. About Ava Perón, because she was supposed to be like kind of really authoritative. So that's why she's kind of relating that to Cordelia. So they sit down for class. They said they're going to be working on active listening, which Xander had no idea they were going to be doing, but... He makes it come across that he actually didn't know because he puts his ears up and tells the teacher kind of like, yeah, I know what's going on. Even though I was just told 2 seconds ago that was going on. So he got the little nod from the teacher like he was participating. Buffy starting to listen, but she's kind of messing with her pencil. She drops it and she goes to pick it up and her attention goes to the doorway and there's this like, looks like a ghost child. There's like a kid in the doorway and he's like lit from the top. Like very harsh lighting on top of his head, like it's like a heaven kind of looking thing. And she just kind of was like, oh, that's weird, and then just turns back. Obviously this kid shows up again, and every time I'm like, okay, Buffy just is like, that's weird, and then just goes on with her day. She says later that she just forgot about it. I'm like, okay, Buffy, sure. You just forgot about this, like,
going on.
Elementary school kid creepily walking around the high school. So the teacher asks Wendell to start reading from the textbook, and he starts screaming, and we see that a bunch of spiders have...
Tarantulas.
Tarantulas have appeared on the book and are starting to crawl over him. Everyone starts screaming. The teacher's screaming. Everyone's jumping up, except for Wendell. Everyone's jumping up out of their seats except for him, which would have been the first thing I did would be jump up and try to get them off of me. But so he just kind of like stays still and is like, help me, help me.
Frozen.
He freezes and they're just crawling all over him. They like fall on his face. Oh my God, that poor actor. Like, it's one thing to have it on your arm and everything, but it like crawls over his like forehead and like falls. Oh my God, like... Yeah, he probably didn't have to do too much acting there.
And the kid apologizes.
Yeah, the kid in the doorway says, sorry about that.
Yeah.
He's up to something. So we're at the credits, and then when we come back, we're at the Master's lair. So this is like a lot of like subtext in this scene. He's talking about fear being the most powerful thing, more than love, and that even though he does feel fear, he's describing a cross, that he does feel fear when he's looking at it. And he said, if I face my fear, it cannot master me. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's kind of the moral of this whole episode. And he grabs the cross, it's burning him. And he says, yeah, like I face it, like it hurts, but it's not gonna do anything more to me. And he then says to Colin, who's still, hey, the anointed kid's still hanging out down there doing nothing, Colin. And I noticed that they put a little like reverb or echo on his voice now to make him like more creepy, I think. I don't think we'd seen that before. I think his voice was normal. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I didn't, I mean, I noticed that it was different, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, it's like a little reverb or a little bit of an echo on it.
Okay.
So I think they're trying to make him seem like more creepy.
Creepier.
And so the Master and him are talking about that they feel something is happening above.
Change.
Yeah, something change. He's at a psychic force. So the Master and Colin they are definitely feeling that something's going on above. So the next morning, Buffy's being dropped off at school, and today is the day that her dad's going to be picking her up. And she is confirming with her mom, okay, he's going to pick me up today at 3:30, right? After school, he's going to be here. And that she forgot her bag, her weekend bag that she had packed to go with him. And her mom picks up on the fact that she's like, do you think your dad's not going to show? She's like, no, not really, no. Like, doesn't seem confident about it.
No, definitely not confident.
And her mom tries to reassure her that it's hard, but, her dad loves her, and they're going to have a good time, and
exactly.
It's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the hallway, Buffy, Willow, and Xander are walking, and Willow's really hung up on the spider thing that happened with Wendell.
Yeah, it was very intense for her.
Yeah, she really is preoccupied the fact that it was spiders. Xander doesn't get what the big deal is.
Yeah, Xander's not scared.
But he says if it was Nazis walking all over, like, on my face, I'd be upset.
That was a weird, like, spiders comparing to Nazis.
I mean, another Nazi reference. This is, like, literally, like, the third or fourth Nazi reference in 10 episodes. Yeah.
What?
We had, in the last episode in the Puppet Show, when Giles said our new Fuhrer about thing, and then in The Witch, when she said something like that Amy's mom was Nazi-like or something like that.
Oh, man.
And then I think there might have been even another one, if I can remember correctly. And there's this one. So we're only 10 episodes in. So much Nazi.
Didn't catch on that. Okay.
Nazi.
And I just thought it was weird because, like, spiders and Nazis are...
I mean, they're both scary.
No, I know, I get it. But, like, you would want to have something similar?
Yeah.
Like snakes? I don't know.
It's
know.
Xander.
Anyway, yeah. Okay.
It's Xander. And... Also, we see, did you notice the swastikas later in the episode?
I did, in the creepy white room.
Yeah.
I did. I thought that was really weird, too.
So more Nazi imagery.
Because that's part of his...
Loving that in season 1.
He's scared of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't even put that together.
I did know, like, when he was walking in that room, I was just like,
oh my God. See, this is great. I didn't even put that two and two together.
I don't think he even noticed it, though.
Yeah, but...
Because he was just so fixated
He's
on
obviously
what was on the
scared
floor.
of Nazis, and he went, that was his part of his dream. That was, like, in his section of his dream. Oh my gosh, see? Great. I didn't even put two and two together there. I thought it was just somebody was just spraying swastikas around. So, yeah, I didn't even put two and two together there. That's great.
But I like his optimism. He's like, Buffy will find, she'll slay, and then they'll party.
We'll party. And so Buffy's like, oh, thanks. Thanks for that confidence boost. In the library, they're calling out for Giles because they said Giles was going to look up the whole spider situation.
And he, off the bat, is like a little weird.
Yeah, he wanders out of the stacks and says that he got lost. Which you think would be a dream, not a nightmare for him.
Actually, yeah.
Like getting lost in a library seems like a pretty cool
Best thing ever.
thing to happen. But he's disoriented, and he says he didn't come up with anything substantial on what they were describing. They should talk to Wendell directly about the spiders. Yeah. And Buffy's like, okay. So that didn't take too much discussion.
Yeah.
In the quad, Willow, Xander, and Buffy come up to Wendell, who looks kind of despondent and out of it. Like, he's still affected by what happened, obviously. He says he obviously knows a lot about spiders because they call them insects, and he gets arachnids instead of insects, and he says about they have different amounts of legs.
He seems very annoyed.
Yeah, he's like, show them the respect they deserve. And he's like, I love spiders. They hate me. And they're like, what? What does that mean? But then, interrupting the conversation, Cordy comes over and asks Buffy if she studied for the history test that they were having right now in period 4 in history class right now. And Buffy, of course, is like, what? Oh, God. Oh, I gotta go. And she totally is unprepared. And so she takes off. So Xander and Willow keep talking to Wendell, and he says that he had the best collection of spiders in the tri-state area, and that he had to go to like wilderness camp or something like that, and his parents made him go. And his brother was in charge of, just maintaining their habitats, and then he left the heat lamp on for a whole week and killed all of his spiders.
Yeah, that's really sad, actually.
That is so sad. Can you imagine like having like all your pets and then you like leave them with someone? This isn't a good thing to say because I'm babysitting your dog for their sake.
Keep her alive for a week.
Hey Sonny, you want a heat lamp? I know, like, can you imagine leaving your pet with somebody and then they kill them? Oh my God, like, that's terrible.
Yeah, his babies.
So he said that after that, he started having this exact nightmare where he's at school reading a textbook and spiders just start, like, crawling all over him, like, basically wanting revenge. Yeah. And he's like, can you blame them? And he said he thought that he was dreaming in class, that he had fallen asleep in class, but then everyone else started screaming. So he knew it wasn't a dream.
It's like his nightmare came to life.
Yeah. In the hallway, Buffy is finally got to history class, and she doesn't know where the class even is. Cordelia has to be like, it's here, this is the class. Like, she's like, I think I was here on the first day. She's like, I haven't shown up any of the days. I haven't any of the assignments, any of the reading. How am I going to pass this? And Cordy says, probably blind luck, I don't know, and goes in there.
And like, honestly, this is at the point in the episode, for me at least, where I'm like, okay, she's like it's dreaming, not dreaming, like something weird's going on. Yeah.
In the classroom, Buffy leaves through the test, obviously lost. She looks at the clock. It's 11:20 a.m. And she looks around. Everyone is getting started, and she is completely at a loss of what to put down. She's looking through I looked at some of the questions. I paused because she kind of flips quickly through the thing. So there's a question. The only two that you can see clearly is a question about the Louisiana Purchase, like asking questions about how much that cost, and just it's like. Do
you guys have to know that in high school?
Yeah, it's American history.
Oh, weird, okay.
Yeah, it's an American history class. It says on the top. So yeah, Louisiana Purchase is part of American history. Okay. And then also, on the next page, there's a question about the phrase, give him hell, Harry. And now this one I didn't know. I actually looked it up. And so, like, where does the phrase, give him hell, Harry come from? And it's, and like, what administration or president is it related to? And it's Harry S. Truman. And apparently he was giving a speech, and he was talking about Republicans, and someone in the crowd said, give him hell, Harry, like yelled that. And that became like a little, and then they made like a movie and like either a play or a musical named that about him. Wow. So like this whole thing about give him hell, Harry. I did not know that. I did not know this. Okay. So I've learned something new today.
Oh, I don't know much about your Louisiana Purchase.
I'm trying to like send Buffy this information so she can get like 2 points out of 100. But she's panicking. She's not doing great. She looks at the top of the test and sees that.
Just ask for her name.
Her name. She's like, at least I know my name. And of course, immediately she puts the pen to paper, and it violently breaks. Like, it couldn't break anymore, except for like in half completely. So she's sharpening her pencil. She looks back up at the clock, and now it's 2:10.
I know. I was like,
12:10.
Yeah.
So almost like an hour has gone by, and she's like, it's been like 30 seconds. So she's looking so confused. Everyone is like basically finishing up their test. She hasn't even written her name down.
And it's just like, this is the other thing too. Like, she's so slow. Like, it's just, yeah.
So I have a dream similar to this, where a recurring dream where it's not about the test taking, but I'm at school and I don't know where my locker is. I don't know my class schedule. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go and when I'm supposed to, like, where it is or what class I'm supposed to go to. So I just try to figure it out and wander aimlessly around the high school.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay,
so this reminded me of that dream.
Okay.
With Buffy has. Okay. The bell rings. Everyone turns their tests in. She has nothing to turn in.
Shouldn't write anything.
And she sees that little boy.
That creepy kid again.
In the hallway, just standing there. And she just kind of stares at him. Hi. In the hallway, we see that ghost boy see a girl go into the basement where she's going to go for a smoke, and he says,
forbidden door.
Yeah, you shouldn't, or I wouldn't go in there, or something like that, or you shouldn't go in there. So we follow her down to the basement, and she's going to have a smoke in the basement, and she hears something, and this, like, deformed, huge-looking man with, like, a club for an arm comes out
and, like, attacks
of
her.
the shadows, and he says, Lucky 19, and then he attacks her, and it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Like, it's like a just full-out physical assault.
Also,
like, he
how
beats the crap out of her.
creepy is that basement, by the way?
Oh.
Like, I wouldn't go down there.
Yeah. It's not the last time we'll be in any of the Sunnydale High School basement. Yeah. It's lots going on down there. It's a happening place for bad things.
Yeah.
Then we go to the hospital. Buffy and Giles show up there to try to get some information out of her. Her name is Laura. Buffy says, like, they say hi in the hallway, but they don't really, she seems nice enough. They don't really know each other that well. They go into her room. She's never seen anything like it. Yep. And Buffy does pick up that she said it. She doesn't really open to talking about what happened.
She's scared to talk about it.
And I think she thinks she's also like, I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel crazy.
Yeah,
she doesn't know that, like, they will understand and they can help her. So Buffy says, you know, it's fine if you don't want to talk about it or you don't remember, but if you want to tell us anything, even if it seems weird, you know, you can tell us. And as they're going to leave, she says that he said Lucky 19 before he attacked her. And she's like, that's weird, isn't it? And Buffy's like, yeah, that is weird. So we have a first puzzle piece, first clue for the puzzle. Yep. In the hallway, Buffy and Giles are asking the doctor, like, how is she? Is she going to be okay? And it's weird because he's like, are you family? And they're like, friends or something.
And he's like, okay.
And he's like, I'll just give you all of her her information.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I was like, that's why he asked, are you family?
That's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
So.
But he's like, oh well, it's Friday.
But I mean, so, like, she has shattered bones and internal bleeding. That's a lot.
And he says she got off easy.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
How is that off easy?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, have you looked at the definition of easy lately? Giles says that. And he says, well, the first victim's still in a coma. And she's like, what do you mean the first victim? So he leads them over to this other patient's room.
Not allowed people.
To give them his information. There's a kid in a bed saying that he was found after a Little League game, beaten, and he's in a coma, and he needs to wake up soon because his, like, chances of coming out of it are going down as the longer he stays under. Yeah. So Buffy now knows that this is a pattern and that she needs to figure out who it is. In the hallway, Xander says that maybe Laura dreamed, or I think it was Willow and Xander are talking, and one of them says that maybe Laura had dreamed about getting beat up. So they're starting to make, maybe there could be connection between the dreams people are having and what's happening. Willow opens her locker, and she has a Nerf herder sign in there. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, the band that wrote and she was a fan, like, to begin with. That's why she recommended it for the theme song.
That's cool.
So Willow is a Nerf herder fan, which I liked. And there's this guy, I think he's like in the script he's called like Tough Guy or Way Tough Guy or something. That's like,
he says he's not scared.
He looks like a T-bird from Grease. And he's like, oh, it's about respect. If this guy wants to fight me, I'm going to fight him. Or if he wants to disrespect me, I'm going to fight him. And he's trying to be all like Billy Big Balls. And then his mom comes around the corner and I was like, honey, like, oh, my pookie poo, or whatever she says, and starts kissing him. And he's completely mortified. Yes. Mom, you're embarrassing me. What are you doing here? Stop kissing me. So obviously this guy's had a dream that his mom is embarrassing him at school.
Funny.
Yeah, and she showed up kissing it all over him. So it was really funny.
He's trying to, like, pinch himself.
Yeah.
Wake up.
So Willow and Xander keep talking about the connection, maybe possibly between dreams and what's happening, and they walk into their classroom, and then everyone starts like laughing and pointing, and Willow turns around, and Xander is instantaneously in his boxers and no other clothes.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, so he immediately is like, oh god, I'm dreaming, starts trying to pinch himself, he's not waking up, and he screams and runs out of the classroom.
At least he was wearing boxers.
I know, they could have like done the naked thing. I mean, they could have just like filmed him from the waist up.
Yeah.
Because I think that people more have the dream that they're naked.
Definitely.
Than
in their underwear.
In their underwear. I mean, neither is what you want to happen, but I'd rather have underwear on than nothing.
Yep.
So he is all of a sudden in his underwear in front of the class. Buffy comes into the library and Giles is like very frustrated. He's looking through all these newspapers and she's like, oh, did you not find anything? And he's like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean you don't know? He's like, I can't read any of this.
Yeah.
And she says, I thought you could like read 3 languages. And he says 5 actually on a normal day. Yeah. But this is all gibberish. And it's English. It's just a regular newspaper. Yeah. And so he's pretty flustered and that would be a nightmare for me. I've never had a nightmare that I can't read, but that would be such a nightmare for me.
That would be terrible.
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
And so Buffy picks up the paper he was looking at and reads on the front that Billy Palmer was beaten after a Little League game and that he's in the hospital in a coma, and it has a picture of the little boy, and she realizes that's a little boy that she's been seeing around the high school.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, I've been seeing him around the high school. I thought it was weird, but I just forgot about it. Okay, I think that's a little bit weak, honestly.
I'm
I'm
gonna say though, like, because of this episode though, and everybody's going through their nightmare sequences, everybody just seems a little dazed and confused.
I would agree with that if the first time she didn't see him wasn't like right before the spiders. Maybe. I don't know. Like, it's a little bit
She just seems daisy the whole episode, and so does Giles. I don't think Willow and Xander do really, but like Giles and Buffy definitely like
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that's because Willow and Xander's fears that we see are a little bit more superficial. It's just like mainly fear and humiliation, but I think Giles and Buffy's are a little bit more deep-rooted and very painful targeted. And like very emotionally scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, maybe that's why. Like it cuts them way deeper than, oh God, I'm in my underwear in front of people or I'm in front of an audience. So I didn't think about that, the differences between them, She says that, she's been seeing him around the high school and that he's the little boy in the hospital. That's the connection, that they're the same person. And Giles says, well, it can be astral projection, that if you sometimes when you're asleep, your whatever essence can walk around and go different places. And she says that
travel through time and space.
Yeah, can travel through time and space. And she says, well, he's in a coma, so that's, similar. So maybe that's what's happening.
I think maybe this might be my favorite line, by the way. She says, she says something about seeing his asteroid body.
Asteroid body.
Giles is like, astral body.
She rolls her eyes. Okay, yeah, I get it. I know what you mean, Giles. She looks at the picture again and notices that it says 19 on his baseball number. And that she says lucky 19. So they're starting to like piece things together here. Yep. Yeah, that he has something to do with that monster, whatever, saying lucky 19. So somebody comes into the library and we see that it's Hank Summers, Buffy's dad, and he wants to like just talk to her. She's early, so she's definitely on edge. Like, what's wrong? Is it mom? He's like, no, just want to talk to you privately. But first, she introduced Giles to him, which is so cute because Giles is a father figure to her.
Yeah,
and he's now meeting her actual father. Hank and Buffy head out to the quad and talking about how he should tell her that the truth, kind of about why her parents got divorced. And she means, okay, he said, we always told you it was because we grew apart, but that's not true. And that she thinks, okay, was there an affair? He says no. And he says it was because of her. That he couldn't deal with her being his daughter, like all the stunts she pulled. She's not as smart as she thought she was going to be. He says she's rude. Like, just all this horrible shit.
Yeah, like the worst things you could possibly say to your kid.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all the stuff that Buffy has feared being the truth. Mm-hmm. So now her dad's shown up and told her to her. I gotta tell you, Sarah Michelle Gellar's face through that, so she doesn't even she has like 3 lines, if that. But like, she like truly heartbroken.
This episode, or this scene actually gutted me.
Yeah.
I was getting teary-eyed for sure.
Yeah, she looks truly heartbroken. I feel like there's actors in this show that act with their face so well, like you just like honestly believe that they are being told this. Like even though you're watching a TV show, they're acting. Like you physically like feel empathy for them. Like it hurts. This is when like Sarah Michelle Gellar is one of those actors in this show. There's 2 specifically that I always like their faces. I'm like, oh. In this scene, it's definitely one of them. She looks like literally destroyed.
Yeah, and she starts crying, and he's like, don't get all blubbery. And I'm like, I want to hit him.
I know, it's awful. Oh, yeah, I had the feels for this. This was so sad.
And then, he ends it with, like, I don't really get much out of these weekends, so...
We should not see each other. We should not see each other anymore.
And this was, like, exactly from the beginning of the episode. This, like, ties it right back in, because, like, that was her fear. Like, is Dad going to pick me up? Like...
Mm-hmm. Is he going to show? Yeah. Does he even want to?
Yeah.
To begin with, anyway. Yeah. Of course, Buffy's upset, and she sees Billy hanging out, and just kind of ignores him, because she's, like, preoccupied with this bombs that her father's dropped on her. Yeah. In the library, Willow and Xander fill Giles in about Xander's clothes disappearing. Willow says she would hate for people to be paying attention to her like that. And he says, like, it's a nightmare. And then they finally, like, definitely made the connection. That is, they kind of toyed around with it.
Nightmares are coming
true. Specific nightmares are coming true, and Giles is like, I knew it! I dreamt that I couldn't read, and I dreamt that I was lost in the stacks, and he definitely is frustrated that he hasn't seen the writing on the wall already. They say that Billy has crossed over from the nightmare world, so he's brought the nightmare world that he's living in his coma out into reality.
Yeah.
So people, now they know that it's not just them, like other people's nightmares. It started with Wendell, but it's going to be spreading. Mm-hmm. We cut immediately to Courtney with her hair.
Bad hair day. Oh my.
Have a bad hair day, total rat's nest, combing her hair. And she's like, doesn't understand. And I love it, even makes the noise that the comb is broken off in her hair, even though you can see nothing's broken on it. But, whatever, it's a sound effect. But she's very distraught that her hair is a mess. So the nightmares have come for Courtney. Outside the gym, a sad Buffy's just kind of walking around all sad, and she sees Billy go into the gym. She follows him in. She asks if he's Billy Palmer. He says, yeah. And she said, did something bad happen to you? Do you remember playing baseball? He says, yes, I play second base. She said, did something bad happen to you? And he doesn't really remember and says that the ugly man calls him Lucky 19, the thing that's been coming after everyone. He calls him the ugly man, so now we have a name for this deformed monster thing. The
Billy
club
says
man.
He wants to kill Billy.
Yeah, the ugly man wants to kill Billy. He says, he gets kind of upset, and he's here. And so she turns around, and ugly man is there, and he's got his club hand ready to go. In the library, Willow, Giles, and Xander split up to find Buffy because they have to wake up Billy to end all this, but they know they have to get Buffy first, especially because with all of her nightmares that she has, those could be really serious. So they're Slayer nightmares and everything. So they all split up, which is a great idea when things are dangerous. In the gym, Buffy and Ugly Man are fighting. He really is strong.
He's super
and
strong.
she's having a hard time fighting him off. So her and Billy run, and they kind of lock him in the gym. She says she needs to find her friends, and he says, we need to hide.
It seems like such a bad idea.
Yeah, and he says, well, that's how it works. He said, I hide and he finds us. I didn't really follow.
I don't really get that either.
Follow, that's the plan, to hide and then he'll find us.
Why do you want him to find you?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, okay, Billy. It seems counterproductive, but okay. So they're going to try to get to the library and find Giles, Willow, and Xander. In the hallway, Courtney is being dragged.
For tracking.
Yeah, so now her hair is still bad. She's got a horrible dress on, so it's obviously part of her nightmare. And she's being dragged into the chess club meeting.
Oh, chess club. I thought it was track and field. Okay.
Yeah.
Chess club.
And she's like, I'm not in the chess club, I swear. And they two nerds drag her into the chess club.
That's awesome.
I love that. Willow is wandering through the hall and hears a voice coming from the basement door. Let's follow this.
Buffy's voice, actually.
Yeah, she thinks it's Buffy because she's like, Buffy? So she goes down into the basement and she's grabbed by something.
Yep, creepy.
So we kind of go bounce back and forth between everybody from this point on.
Oh yeah, and here's Xander in his white room with the swastika.
Yeah, Xander's walking through kind of looks like a part of the school that's under construction or is being painted or something.
It's creepy though.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I find it super creepy.
All these white sheets.
Tapestry or whatever, yeah.
It's plastic sheets
that
are up. Yeah, and we see the swastikas in the background. It's painted on the wall. And he is just basically so stupid. He's following this breadcrumb trail of candy.
Yeah.
Okay, Xander, this is a good idea. So he's so excited that he's picking up all this candy.
It's the best day ever.
Yeah, and he's just eats a bite out of one, goes to the next, rips it open, takes a big bite of that one. He's just having a good old time. Like a big dummy. Buffy and Billy are on their way to the library, but they pass the baseball field and say he kind of watches people play baseball and he says it was his fault they lost the game. He said it was his fault.
He missed catching a ball, but Buffy's like, there's 8 other people on the team, right?
Yeah, but he's being blamed for the whole team losing because he didn't catch a certain ball. And they see the ugly man is beating some poor person up in the distance, and he's going to come after them. So they run through a hedge to take a shortcut basically to the library, and they end up from daytime at the school to nighttime in a cemetery.
It's so creepy.
Yeah. So they're like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
In the basement, Willow is transformed into a backstage area of a theater. And she's in costume. She's pushed on the stage. And there's a guy next to her. She's introduced as the greatest soprano or something, Willow Rosenberg. So she's pushed on stage. There's this guy, he starts singing. opera. And so she's dressed as Chow Chow San from Madame Butterfly, the opera by Puccini that was out in 1904.
Oh, I didn't know that. Good
And
catch.
that guy is supposed to be her husband that she's singing with.
Got it. Okay.
So it's a kind of, I guess, a duet, and it comes time for Willow to sing. He kind of gestures to her, and she just looks around. So he
Keep singing.
keeps singing, comes back to her again. It's her turn again, and she just goes, ah.
Like a frog voice.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, in the audience. So she's completely humiliated and terrified.
So like her fear is like she didn't learn the word. She froze on stage. She squeaks.
Everyone's looking at her.
And, yeah.
She's getting attention from lots of
So
people, which
bad.
Willow like is a wallflower, and I think she's happy with it that way, at least for now. It's part of her life. She's happy with being a wallflower, and yeah, no, not in the spotlight. And she's literally in the spotlight right now. In the hallway, we're back to Xander, and he is just enjoying his chocolates. He finds a hurricane bar, and he says, "Oh, I haven't had this since my 6th birthday party."
And then he
Here's this like maniacal laughter.
creepy. This is creepy.
I'm not even scared of clowns. Like I know the
Same,
clown thing, but
this was creepy.
it was creepy. Like the laughing.
Sound,
Yeah.
and then when the clown comes out, I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, he just starts like with a knife, a big knife, slashing through the metal sheets and
my
coming
God.
through, and Xander's like, "Oh my god!" and runs off, and the laughing clown chases after him. This was creepy, and this isn't even something that freaks me out. I know a lot of people are freaked out
I've
by
never been scared
clowns.
of a clown, but that
Oh yeah, people that is a definite phobia for people. And it obviously is Xander's. In a cemetery, Billy and Buffy come across an open grave, and all of a sudden the master shows up and says that it's better to bury someone alive. It's more fun than burying someone that's dead.
also so creepy. Oh my god.
Being buried alive is a huge fear and nightmare that people have.
Well, I think that used to happen.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they used to put a bell.
Yeah.
They'd attach
Yeah,
like a string down
that's
there and have
right.
a bell next to the thing. That way, if people ended up being alive, somebody would hear the bell ringing.
God.
Yeah, so people being buried alive is a huge fear.
And
Yeah,
then,
it's
so
scary.
she's like wondering how he's even out, and he basically said he's free because she fears it, which I thought was interesting.
We saw the nightmare at the opening scene. Like,
Yeah.
one of her fears is that he's going to get loose. She knows he's down there. He's still a threat. And she doesn't know if she can take him if he gets free. So she's trying to, yeah, you're right. She's trying to tell herself that it's a dream. He says, no, it's real because you fear it. And then he says, a dream is a wish your heart makes, which is from Cinderella. And then he throws her into the coffin. It closes, and he starts just burying her
Yeah,
with
oh
a
my
thing.
God.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar had talked about this, that one of her phobias, like she's a really, really bad phobia of graveyards and being buried alive.
Oh my god.
She's like, well, it's not great for a vampire slayer. But she said she told the producer that she wasn't going to do the being buried alive. It just wasn't, she wasn't doing it. She's like, sorry, I can't do it. And apparently it like didn't get relayed. And she showed up and she had to film it.
Oh my god.
And she's like, it was like at that point, I don't know how early this interview was, because there's a lot of stuff that happens to her post this scene. But at the time, she said like it's one of the worst things she's ever had to do for the job. And that she cried all the way home.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked utterly terrified.
Yeah. She's being buried alive by the master, and she's screaming in the coffin and pounding on it, and it's horrible. In the hallway, Willow is running from boo. She runs out, so you hear the whole audience booing. She runs into Xander.
Xander's getting chased by the clown.
Yeah, you run into Xander and Giles. Well, she runs into Xander first, and she's like, "Oh my god, you won't believe like what happened to me." They were like booing. I couldn't sing. He's like, "Do you remember my 6th birthday party?" Like Xander's is worse than Willow's
Definitely
for sure.
way worse.
And she's laughing. Oh, I remember the clown. And then she kind of realized, like, oh, crap, there's a clown that's going to come running through here. And he does. The clown's barreling through more of the sheets. They run into, I love when they run into Giles. Because he's like, what's going on? Oh! And he sees the clown and he starts running. When Giles is startled through this whole show, there's one particular one in season 4 that I will literally rewatch. I will like just go to that episode and watch the part where he's startled because it's so funny. Whenever he is startled, it is just so funny. The little noises that he makes when he gets scared. He's, oh! Like when Sid was missing and he drops the book and he's like, oh! I just love when Giles is frightened. So they all run off together and run from the clown, but...
Okay. Here's my favorite scene.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Xander conquers his fear. He punches the clown. Like,
Yeah.
way to go, Xander. He's just like, wait, this isn't real. This is a nightmare. And he just turns around and punches the clown, and that's it.
Yeah, and he
Way to go.
insults his animal balloon abilities. Anyone can make a giraffe, or everyone can make a giraffe. So yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's over for Xander.
And then the clown's done.
The clown's done.
So
So
great.
we kind of see the theme. You have to face your fears, and they can't control you.
And he's no longer scared.
Shockingly, Xander is the first one to actually do this.
Actually, you're right.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. But it's a bit shocking to me, honestly. Outside the school, they say that they need to wake Billy up, but they have to find Buffy. And then Willow notices that there's like a portal at the end of like the school where it's like they're in daylight.
What's across the street over there?
Yeah,
Weird.
it's just like darkness and a graveyard. And so they go there, they figure that's where Buffy is. Yeah. So they walk through, and now they're in the darkness, the same cemetery that Buffy and Billy were in.
And Xander's like, whose nightmare is this?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Because, like, I actually assumed it was hers.
Buffy's?
I thought it was Buffy's.
Okay, yeah.
And then Giles is like, mine.
Now they're starting to intertwine.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
To intertwine now.
And I wasn't imagining that would happen.
Okay, some of these fears are overlap with each other.
So when Giles is like, mine, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Giles says it's his nightmare because he sees Buffy's tombstone, her gravestone. Yeah. And it says that she dies in 1997, so she dies soon. She dies that year in his fear. And he just basically kneels down. This is my favorite scene, when he kneels down next to her grave and just, he says, I failed to protect you. But you were so gifted. I should have been more cautious. I should have done this. I should have done that. He has real regret and pain that she died, and he feels responsible. Yeah. And it's so sweet. I just think that you really can tell that he's really starting to care about her. Yeah. As every episode goes by, he's caring for her more as a person than just like being a slayer and being his like job essentially. So he like puts his hand down on the fresh dirt, and it's very sad and everything. And all of a sudden, the hand jumps out and grabs his arm, and they're all screaming. And Buffy comes out of the grave. She is a slave pyre. A slayer vampire.
Oh, a slave pyre.
Slave pyre. Vamp Buffy is there, and it's pretty crazy to see her in vamp face.
Yeah, it's very
interesting. She's like, oh my god, I thought I was dead down there. And they're like, oh my god, your face. And she feels her face, and she's like, oh my gosh, no. Like,
she doesn't want to show people.
Yeah, she doesn't want people to look at her.
And Giles is like, you never told me you had a nightmare about that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. Like, that would probably be her worst fear, is to become a vampire. Yeah. The one thing that she's, like, destined to destroy.
Exactly, yeah.
Giles tries to take control of the situation, say, look, I think if we wake Billy up, this will all go away. So can you like hold it together and help me? And she's like, I think so. She says, but we should do it fast because I'm getting hungry. I loved that. Yeah, that was so funny. Glad that she... And it's interesting, though, because they make a very clear... I guess, I don't know how it would have worked otherwise, but like if Buffy... Because these are nightmares, but they are real. Mm-hmm. They are happening.
It's turning real.
Yeah, so if Buffy is... It's only if they will stay there, if they stay real or not. Yeah. So if Buffy's a vampire, she shouldn't have a soul. She should be immediately evil. Mm-hmm. But whatever, let's let that go.
It's because it's like... It's slow.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll go with that. So they're going to try to wake up Billy. So they get to the hospital, and Giles is trying to, like, just yell at Billy to wake up. He's not responding.
Also, which is weird. Like, I feel like Giles would know that doesn't work on comic.
I guess he's just getting desperate. I don't know.
His brain capacity is decreasing.
Yeah, that would definitely be a fear for him, not being smart anymore. Ties into the not reading thing, or not being able to read. And then we see Astro Billy, and Astro Billy says that we need to hide. And... because Buffy sees the ugly man coming down the hallway. Yeah. And Buffy thinks she knows, like, what to do. She thinks she's, like, finally put the pieces together. We don't know what it is yet. Yeah. But she runs out there and starts fighting the ugly man.
I like what she says. She says, there's a lot scarier things than you, and I'm one of them.
Yep, that was my favorite line.
And then she attacks him.
That was my favorite line. And then she, like a vamp attacks him. Yeah. And she can take him down as a vamp Buffy.
Mm-hmm. Way to go.
Yeah, so she's got all kinds of powers now.
Breaks that club arm.
Yeah, she messes him up, knocks him out, it brings him into the room, and says that she tells Billy to come here. He doesn't want to. He's scared, but says, like, hey, no more hiding. And so she brings him over to him. Xander says, I get it, because because he conquered his fear with the clown. Mm-hmm. And so she brings him over and says no more hiding. And so he kind of, like, essentially unmasks.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. What does he do? Okay, so...
Yeah, it's like he's, like, unmasked the ugly man, and it just, like, is bright light. Okay. And that kind of, like, him just, like, taking, like, air quotes, mask off the ugly man.
So he's taking the scariness away.
Yeah, he's just revealing it or facing it or whatever. Okay. And then, boom, everything goes back to normal, and everybody looks normal again. Buffy's not a vampire, and Billy is starting to to stir and come to in his hospital bed.
It says, I had the strangest dream.
Yeah. Do you know that reference was from?
Oh, no.
He says, I had the strangest dream. You were in it, and you were in it.
Okay, so I recognize this, but I don't know from what.
Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
he's like, you were there, and you were there.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a reference from
Okay.
Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
They are kind of just talking to him, and someone comes into the room, and it's his Little League coach, and says that, I've been coming in every day, hoping he'll wake up. He's my lucky 19. And then Buffy and Giles realize that.
They connect the dots.
They connect the dots that he's the one. So basically...
He represents the monster.
Yeah, the ugly man is the manifestation of the abuse that his Little League coach has been doing to him.
I can't believe his Little League coach told him it was his fault he lost a game. What kind of
And then beat him into a coma
that?
for it.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that too, yes.
No,
yes,
that too.
Obviously.
That too.
Emotional and physical trauma.
Like, geez, it's one thing to it's horrible to say that to a kid, but then also put them in a coma over it. Yeah, so they put two and two together. The Little League coach.
Little League.
Yeah. The Little League coach has basically beat him so bad to put him in a coma because he blamed him for losing the game. He realizes when Buffy says, well, he's awake, Billy's awake and kind of shows him. And he says, it wasn't my fault for losing the game. And the coach kind of knows, okay, if Billy's up, I'm screwed.
Yep.
Because he knows that he's going to know that I beat him. And he's going to tell.
Run away.
He tries to run away. Xander and Giles kind of, restrain him. This part's corny. When, Billy and Buffy have that little interchange, way to go or something. It's just like, God, okay, we get it. We get it. You're proud of him. It was just, so corny. Outside, Buffy, Willow, and Xander are walking, and they're saying the coach is in jail. And it's true. Xander says, "I'm surprised it wasn't one of the parents, because parents in jail, they have you hear all these stories about parents getting
they're crazy,
expelled from ever coming to their kids' sporting events because they're so aggressive and they're yelling at the coaches, yelling at the kids, their kid, other kids on the other team, just insane stuff." So yeah, he's like, "Have you ever been to one of those games?" I'm surprised it wasn't one of the parents, which I get because you hear some crazy stuff. Yeah. So yeah, he's in jail, and it's so sweet that Buffy's dad, in reality, comes up and he picks her up and he's like, "Hi, sweetheart. Oh, so good to see you. How was your day?" And very loving and attentive, and Buffy's just loving it. Yeah. It reminds me of when Amy and her dad, when they got connected again. Cute, yeah. Just kind of having that feeling of neglect, whether it was real or perceived or whatever, distance and all that, and just basking in the attention of their dad. This is really sweet. Really so Buffy sweet. Says, "Okay, have a killer weekend." She's leaving off with her dad. I love it. Yeah, her dad says, "How was your day?" She's like, "The usual." This is not far from the truth.
Nothing
this is stuff Buffy
happened.
deals with all the time. As she leaves, Willow wants to ask Xander a personal question, which I was kind of surprised. I don't know how if
this makes
sense to me. Asked him if he still dug Buffy when she was a vampire. Yeah. He's like, "No, of course not. That she was grotesque. She was, oh no, absolutely. Okay, I'm sick." And she's like, "Yeah, I know you're sick." He's like, "I need help." She's like, "Yeah, I know it." And they walk off together. So obviously he still has the hots for Buffy. Yeah. But he has out of everyone in the show, I've mentioned this before, he hates vampires the most. Oh. He is repelled and disgusted and everything about vampires more than anybody that I can think of at the moment. Yeah. As the show goes on. So I am surprised that he did find Buffy attractive. Maybe because he wasn't real enough. It was temporary and everything. Buffy was actually turned. I don't know if he would hate her, but I don't think there'd be any romantic stuff there anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because he doesn't, he really humans having relationships with vampires, he's very against. Yeah. Yeah, so I was kind of surprised by that. But, all right, and then that's the end of the episode. They walk off, and everyone lives to see another day. Yeah. Oh, I didn't do my steak rating, but I didn't write it down, but I'll have it in my head. So my favorite line we talked about so Buffy says, "There are a lot scarier things than you, and I'm one of them." And then my favorite scene was Giles' little speech at Buffy's grave. It was so touching and sweet.
That was really good, actually. Yeah. My favorite line is when Buffy sees his asteroid body and Giles corrects her to astral body. And then, my favorite scene was just, I like when Xander punched the clown, overcame his fear. I thought that was a good moment for Xander.
I think a runner-up for me was Buffy and Hank's conversation. Even though she really didn't say anything, but her acting in that scene was so powerful.
That was really... that could be my favorite scene as well, but it just was too sad.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah. She was just so good in it. Like, I honestly was like, oh my God, she like actually looked like her heart was being broken.
Yeah.
And she just it was amazing acting from her. And she had like to make me feel that way, and she literally had 3 lines.
Yeah.
Like, just
her
a few.
expressions.
Yeah, her expression. She felt so... I can think of another scene. I will just hint to it. The expressions on the character's face when somebody's walking down the stairs and someone's at the bottom of the stairs and somebody's just looking, there's no lines. Oh, it takes me there. We'll see that in season 6.
Season 6, okay.
Like, the expressions. Like,
we have a ways to go, people.
The actors that in this show that really act with their expressions on their face. Oh, God. I have goosebumps now. Okay. Anyway. So that is the end. That brings us to the end. Oh, if you're a steak rating. So, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So, I'm going to give it a 3.
What? Really? Why?
I don't know. I just didn't... I liked all the subtext of the episode, but I just didn't love it.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to like maybe do some more self-reflection on why. I love the acting. Like Buffy's, Sarah Michelle Gellar's acting was amazing. It's just not an episode that sticks with me.
Okay.
It's not an episode I ever really come back to watch often.
Okay. That's fair.
It just goes off the radar for me in the big scheme of, because I have all the hindsight of the whole show, obviously. But if I'm looking, so when I am rating episodes, I am kind of rating them too with all the future in mind as well, what we are going to see. But it is written by Joss Whedon as well, who is a good writer, with everything else that we know. But his episodes are very important. Okay, I'll give it a. See, I'm trying to like not bias myself by everything I know. You know what I mean? Like everything that's going to come to pass, like everything's going to happen. Okay, I'll give it a 4. I'm going to change. I'm going to give it a 4 because we learned so much about people.
Yeah,
and there was like really good acting.
Much character development.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
It just doesn't stick with me for some reason.
I gave it a 4. I really liked it. Like you said, the character development, the acting was really good. But also just like the theme of the episode, like overcoming your fear. Like that's just such a...
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay, you've convinced me with that. That is true.
Like, I really love that theme.
Yeah, I guess, like, Billy kind of annoyed me. Like, he just wasn't... I feel like there could maybe a better conduit would have... His whole, like, Little League thing...
I overlook it. I don't know.
I guess, like, that... Like, the Little League thing and, like, his coach beating him up, I just thought... just didn't do it for me as well. But, like, other parts of it were really well done. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I guess I'll go for 4.
Okay. 4 steaks, people.
4 steaks.
Was this the first episode we have the same steak rating? I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
I don't remember. If not, we've been close.
Yeah, I know we've been close, but I think this might be the first one.
Okay. Because I changed mine. But I didn't know yours was 4 before I changed mine. Okay, so your question for next week. Okay. In the next episode, Out of Mind, Out of Sight, a word is spray painted across the lockers. What is it?
Ooh. Out of Sight, Out of Mind is the name of the episode. Word is spray painted across a locker.
It's one word.
I feel like normally when words are spray painted across lockers, they're like nasty.
Yeah, it's not usually like, you are beautiful, even though it's one word.
So it's like...
Love!
Like maybe like bitch, or I would even be tempted to say the C word, which I don't say.
It's in 1997, primetime 1997, so I doubt they could put the C word on TV.
So maybe bitch. Or maybe it was witch, actually.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
I'll go with bitch. I'll just go
bitch?
with the...
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with the token, what normally happens on a...
I mean, when you're vandalizing something, I guess you're not going to write flowers, harmony, peace,
Huh.
When you're vandalizing the school lockers. Okay, so we're going with biatch.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see.
I don't feel good about this. So
you don't feel good about it?
I don't think I'm right, but I just don't know what else to guess.
Well, you're coming off of a high, so it's all about highs and lows, the ebbs and flows. Okay, so that wraps up Season 1, Episode 10, Nightmares. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. I also wanted to mention that we are going to be doing a giveaway. I don't even know if I've told you about this.
No, but I voted yes on our Instagram.
I want to see like the
Do I get to enter?
We're going to be doing a giveaway on around the Season 1 finale.
Woohoo!
Probably for Prophecy Girl for that episode. But you need to be following us on Instagram to enter. So make sure you follow us at One Girl in All the World Pod so you can get all the rules there. But we're going to be giving away a Buffy like sticker pack for the first finale episode. So
that's fun.
It is fun. And I actually got stickers for the podcast, so I'll be including one of those too. I'll give you one too. I already have it cut out for you.
I like stickers. That's so good.
Yeah, so there's a One Girl in All the World podcast sticker as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have to be following us on Instagram to get all the deets. So get on there and get ready.
You should be doing already anyway.
You should be doing it anyway, but if you want to get the chance to get the stickers, you have to be on there and follow all the instructions. So yeah, so thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with episode Out of Mind, Out of Sight. Slay real soon.
Bye.